Black Liberation Theology.
Not solely a debater that we recognize their outstanding accomplishments through team awards or speaker awards. You see, we do plenty of that. But tonight's award demonstrates that the importance of competitive success alongside a commitment to represent the highest values of the debate community. And please bring to the stage presenting the 2009 David Joe Johnston Debater of the Year Award, Beth Skinner and Deven Cooper of Towson University.
Roadmap. Can you hear me okay? Roadmap, the case, and then an underview. Is anyone not ready? Contention 1, Dayvon Love deserves to be the CEDA Debater of the Year. Callum Matheson, widely regarded as the best judge in the country in 2009. Debates are not always exciting, especially as the season wears on, and the students continue to talk about, say, planting practices, or the same hackneyed caricature of global trade that rears its tired head year after year. At times, almost any team can be tedious, difficult, or unpleasant to judge. But I never feel that way about Towson CL. No matter how wildly mismatched or meticulously similar are the arguments of Towson and their opponents, they are always interesting to judge. Towson's debates are about the fundamental structural causes of problems, both in debate and the world at large, and whether or not you agree with their particular explanation, their debates are meaningful and engaging. They are relevant. It's tough to say that about a great number of other teams. Dayvon's style of delivery is my favorite among competitors this year. Individual arguments are kept brief, but not in the shallow taglines of many policy debaters, rendering speeches a kind of newspaper soup where judges can only read the headlines until the end of the debate. Further, Dayvon has an almost unique ability to translate complex, sophisticated ideas into terms that spectators can easily understand. This alone would qualify him as one of the best, but it's combined with a good sense of strategy and a delivery style that bridges the gap between intelligence and success. Finally, Dayvon's demeanor and attitude in debate set him apart from other successful competitors. One of the ugliest aspects of high-level debate is the projection of arrogance and paternalism that many accomplished debaters project. People sneer at arguments they think are poor, they insult each other's intelligence, they laugh at each other, or feign shock during cross-examinations or even speeches. This is widespread, it is transparent, counterproductive, and disappointing, and Dayvon does none of it. He is calm, collected, and coherent. Whether one wants to debate about white supremacy, American hegemony, or pretend that Zizek makes sense, one could do a lot worse than emulate Dayvon. Contention 2, Dayvon Love has helped to transform debate. Melissa Maxey-Wade, pioneer of the urban debate movement and director of one of the most successful college programs in history, 2009. In my 35 years directing Emory debate, I've watched many eras come and go. From the days when I was one of 4 women at the NDT as a participant, joined by 2 males of color out of 150 who attended those NDTs, to the gradual efforts of inclusion to enfranchise all populations to participate in the best leadership and advocacy training available in the academy, I have been in witness. Dayvon's success and passion for his argument choices signals so many secondary school debaters that our community welcomes them. I believe that he cares so much for debate that he seeks to make it better by challenging its participants to seek depth of argument, enhanced rigor of scholarship, and thoughtful reflection in advocacy, end quote. Now, I know that everyone in this room has spent a lot of time over the last year, and especially over the last few weeks, getting ready for this tournament. I'll let you in now that we have most of the prelims done at this tournament on what we've been doing, what Towson's been doing over the last weekend to prep. And I don't think that you'd be shocked to learn that we weren't cutting BizCon updates or politics internals. Dayvon and most of the rest of the team were helping last weekend to run a middle school tournament at the Baltimore Urban Debate League, where hundreds of students, their parents, their families, and their teachers argued about gun violence. Dayvon has always connected what he does in the small world that we live in here in academic debate to the larger world through his leadership on campus politics, his community organizing, and his dedication to young people. The underview. I'd like to tell you what being Dayvon's coach has meant to me, and the 2 things that I want to talk about are identity and comfort. The world that we're born into and the identities that we grow up with aren't the rigid categories that we may believe or that we may have believed when we were younger. I will always be perceived as a white woman from Kansas, but that's not the limit to what I can become. I'll always be marked by illness, but I'm not only a disabled person. Dayvon always says, and this is one of my favorite quotes from him, "You can do anything you set your mind to." And I believe him because he's demonstrated that it's possible. I've learned from Dayvon about comfort and privilege also. Those of us who are white can't abandon the comfort and the unearned privilege whiteness brings any more than those of you who are male can abandon male privilege. The real choice before us is how we deal with it. Privilege is power, and like any power, military supremacy, fiat, intellect, we need to make purposeful decisions about how we exercise it. And the last 8 years of national government should have taught us that lesson if it's taught us nothing else. We can't assume that what protects our own comfort doesn't have a price, both for others and for ourselves. These things Dayvon helped to teach me. Dr. Naeem Akbar, a black psychologist and Afrocentric scholar, is another person Dayvon talks about. One of the things he says is that not everyone has the patience to deal with white people. I'm not sure that I can... I'm not sure that I can truly appreciate the courage and sense of self it takes to willingly expose yourself, not just your evidence or your skills, but yourself, to the criticisms this community can dish out. Here's an example. Last year in double octafinals at the NDT, Deven and Dayvon lost. I was bringing food to the round at the time the decision was announced. People streamed out into the hallway, and what I remember most is high fives and self-congratulatory remarks like, "All right, now debate isn't racist anymore." That is just fundamentally wrong on so many levels. It's a simple misstatement of the arguments that were being made, and it's like saying racism is dead in America because we have a black president. But what I'd like for you to imagine right now is how it feels to invest not just your time and your ego in this activity, but your fundamental sense of self and your faith in the power of debate to transform the lives of those who come after you. Imagine that, and then try to imagine the courage it took to put in years of work with your identity and arguments being rejected, being told you don't belong, having other teams circulate their best case hits against you because they want you, in particular, to lose. I don't think I have that kind of strength, and so I admire it all the more when I see it in Dayvon, Deven, and the rest of the team. So I'll just close what I'm saying by thanking Dayvon for having the courage and the patience to deal with all of us here, both inside and outside the debate community. Now I have the honor of presenting Deven Cooper to say a few words. Deven has been Dayvon's partner for 3 years. Like a lot of people who do double ones, Deven hasn't always gotten the recognition he deserves. Deven sets the highest standards. I believe he thinks that this is true also. Deven sets the highest standards for himself. He's a meticulous researcher, a passionate performer, and a great teacher. He's graduating this semester and is headed to Fullerton for grad school in the fall, and we're all very proud of him.
Good evening. Like I say, I met Dayvon. We went our way in like 2003 to the city camp in New York. I can tell you from that was a great camp. In particular, I remember one night, him and I and a few other people actually snuck out into Times Square to walk the streets. I don't know if you can hear about that, but so, I mean, Dayvon was always a critical debater, wasn't always spew down type of debater. He actually beat me in my last high school debate. I was in the middle of trying to play music and also be a fast policy debater.
Not anymore.
Dayvon, it kind of restored my faith in a little bit in debate. After my transfer, I kind of wanted to quit debate. I was going to attend Morgan State University so I could just hurry up and get out of college, just be done. Dayvon called me and said, "So what are you going to do after you leave Louisville?" And I said, "What possibly?" He said, "You should come debate with me," and I was just a little skeptical because Towson wasn't really a critique type school. So I gave it a try, and I can say that after all of the high point losses, the 4-4 records, personal arguments, and his farting after
Spot blown.
I'm honored to be his partner. I mean, I think he really deserves this award because of his charismatic tone, his always being mellow when I, get all enthusiastic in rounds. Partially also because when I mess up the 1 AR, he's able to save the day. So, I'd like to present this award to Dayvon.
Our final named award tonight is named in honor of Don Brownlee, one of the longtime coaches and original founder and forensic educator as part of CEDA. The award is given annually to a forensic educator who demonstrates outstanding achievement in scholarship, education, and service for our organization. And in many ways, it speaks to the power and the ability for them to make an impact on so many lives over a long period of time, even if they take every effort to stay behind the scenes with a low profile and out of the spotlight. And so presenting tonight's Brownlee Award for 2009, I'd like